What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be filming a highly requested video. It's going to be talking about the fender trim from my second gen Tacoma. This is a perfect project for anyone trying to run either 33s or higher on their truck. 33s, that's not mandatory for a fender trim, but if you want the most flex out of your truck, then I would recommend it. This is overall a super fun project. I had a lot of fun doing this. It was about a 4-day process to do the front and then the rear. And I'm just going to be showcasing how I went about doing this. Yeah, so let's get started. So first things first, I'll start with the hardware. So underneath the plastic fenders holding it to the metal, you have these plastic clips here. There's two colors, there's orange and you have blue right there. So they actually are different sizes. So as you can see, on the bottom, in the front, and in the middle, or where the wider ones, the orange, those are wider. So those are your main mounting points, and the smaller ones here are the blue ones. So that's just additional support throughout the entire liner. You can see there. Now these things are super sturdy until it's time to take them out. So as you can see, I actually broke a couple trying to pull the fender off for the video. So that one's broken, that one's broken. But I'll leave a link in the description. I want to say like 20 bucks or less. I got a whole bag off of Amazon, and it was enough for all 4 fenders all the way around. Yeah, super cheap. I always recommend having OEM clips, tabs, all that kind of stuff just on hand whenever you're doing stuff with your truck, just in case, because how they're built pretty well, so it just kind of takes a lot to get them out sometimes, and sometimes you're gonna break and stuff, and that's okay. It's just plastic, you can buy more. But anyways, besides that, you're gonna have a 10mm bolt right down here, mounting it to the bottom. And then I would show you what goes on top, but I actually ended up cutting that off, and I'll explain that in a bit. But yeah, so I'll show you actually the fender itself. Flip it to the back side. So you can see here all the mounting points for those orange and blue clips. Now when pulling these fenders off the truck, it is a little nerve-wracking because it requires a good amount of force to get these clips out. But it's just sketchy because you do not want to break these clips here, because I have a couple broken off on the rear, I think about 1 on each side, and that's the reason I didn't pull them off for the video, just because I don't want to risk breaking even more. Because when you obviously used to have all these mounting points on the fender, but when you're losing like the mounting clips on the back, I notice it does shake a little bit on the freeway, probably going like 75 and faster. I do notice it shakes. I don't worry about it falling off, not really. I've gone honestly probably like 95, 100, and it held on. But just for your guys' sake, just be careful. And then you can see right here, I actually got my Dremel and just made a hole myself right there and right here, and just zip tied it just for additional support. This is the part that goes in the bumper, by the way. But here are those clips I was talking about again. Here are the blue ones. I have no extra of the orange ones, but they usually don't break, just the blue ones because they're smaller. And these ones here are the ones that actually connect this piece to the bumper. These ones are super sturdy as well. I'm sure you can find these on Amazon too. These ones I didn't break off my truck, so I just have extra ones, but yeah. Anyways, we'll get back to the truck. So first things first, obviously I started with the fender itself, just because I was nervous to cut the metal. But my biggest piece of advice is, instead of just taping off the area you want to cut, I ended up taping off a good amount of the fender itself. And the thing is, you never want to make your cutting line with a tape. And yes, you could spend a couple hours, getting a razor blade and like rounding out those tape lines to get a straight line. But at the end of the day, that's just a lot of extra time and work that you don't really need to be doing. So what I did, I just taped off the entire fender, got measuring tape, made you can do two ways, obviously. You can either follow the body line here. It's a little hard to see. There is a body line here. You can follow that, or you can get a measuring tape and then just take a measurement and go just cut off the same amount all the way around. And that's what I did. So I just drew my lines. I didn't draw them off like right off the bat. So let's say I would because on the inside I did like 2 inches. So I would mark right there 2 inches, mark right here 2 inches, mark right here 2 inches, mark right here 2 inches, and then after that I just drew out my line and connected all those lines that I made with the measurements, and then that was my line, and started cutting. Same thing with the fender flare. I actually taped off the entire flare, did the same process, got those first measurement lines, and then drew out my full line to cut, and that was that. Yeah, it's really super straightforward as long as you're patient and take the right steps to prepare for the cut. Your biggest concerns are, like I mentioned earlier, these clips, just because these ones you can break because you can order more, but the ones on the flares themselves are the ones you do not want to break. I'm actually show you guys. I think it's right here in the middle. Yeah, you can see this little gap now because there's one right here that's kind of broken, but it's mounted in the front and rear and the rest of the ways besides that, so it's fine. Yeah, I'll give you guys a close-up actually. So I ended up doing an inch, I would say 1.25 inches on the fender flare, and then 2 inches on the inside here, just so you can have basically so it'll sit behind the fender flare rather than being, you know, right next to each other, just to give you some more clearance and just so it hides that kind of the look of the cut. This one's a little closer so you can kind of see how it's behind the fender flare on both sides. But yeah, so like I said, I ended up using a Dremel, and that's honestly probably why it took so long, just because I had to swap out those discs every, you know, couple minutes basically. But you can, you know, use what's available to you. I don't recommend, you know, going and spending out $200 on a saw you're going to use for one project, but that's what you want to do, then, well, I mean, by all means go for it. But close up there, and this trim I'll actually leave in the bio as well. I also got it off Amazon, and it holds on really well until it gets dirt in it. But the cool thing about this one is actually metal teeth in here on the inside, and all I did was get some clamps and kind of press it. You can kind of see the marks there where I pressed it, and it holds in just fine. Eventually I'm gonna get these welds hammered back. I actually started that the other day, but haven't finished it. But I'm gonna actually throw the fender flare back on, and then I'll show you guys how that looks. You know what, I'll actually show you guys how to pull these clips out, because they are kind of a pain to pull out, but I'm gonna show you guys a trick real quick. So let me grab my tool and I'll come back. So for these, all you have to do is get any pair of pliers. Just grab them, then you can twist, and then they pull right out. I'll grab another clip. The same way you put them in. Oh, let me see. They do come with these little kind of foam. Not a washer, but it's just to help the fitment when it seats on the metal itself, I guess. But the same process. You can either just kind of put it in by hand and twist it, or some of them actually just pop right in straight like that. Still got to pull out this one too, but yeah, it's easier said than done, the whole project. But these clips, you know, go ahead and break them. You just get more for $20. It's the full set of the truck, like I was saying earlier. You get all 4 fenders covered with that $20 in the bag. So I'm gonna get that last clip out, and I'll throw the fender flare back on and show you guys how it looks. Right, so here's how it looks, everything thrown back on. As you can see, there is a great amount of clearance right there for any kind of flexing. Now this part right here is going to look a little different just because I have the Viper cut on mine, but other than that, you can see it's pretty smooth, you know, for a small hand tool. And as you can see, it does kind of vary in size, the fender itself, and that's because I went with the same measurement all the way around rather than just following either the body line or the natural shape of the fender. And that bothered me at first, but you know, this was my first time doing something like this, and the lines are smooth, so I'm really not complaining, and it makes mine more unique, you know. But yeah, show you guys an inside view. See how it kind of sits behind that fender flare right there. That's how it looks right there in the front. But yeah, this is a super highly requested video from you guys. It is scary, I'll admit that, but it's, you know, once you do your research, prepare, really it's one of the most fun I've had on a mod doing to my truck. I highly recommend you guys, you know, give it a shot. There are some people that they charge for this work, and I understand after this project why they charge what they charge. Because it takes a lot of time. Like I said, it was like a 4-day process, and it's just a lot of preparation, patience. But as long as you have those two things, you can really accomplish anything. And yeah, so I wish you guys the best of luck if you attempt this yourselves. I'll leave my Instagram in the description below. If you do trim your fenders because of this video, send me a message on Instagram. Show me how it looks. But yeah, this is gonna be it for today. It's not a super long video, but I just want to give you guys some pointers and just, you know, show what I did, what worked for me. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.